Interrogate your DM.
Dealing with toxic players is actually much more simple than people like to think.
What is the thing the players do that drives you crazy?
So when a new player starts, is it better for them to play homebrew or a module? Asking your DM questions that he would never tell you otherwise in your game because yeah.
What in the ADHD was that?
Okay, so first question.
You're starting?
Yeah.
Just off the rip like that? Okay.
Yeah.
Just bucket starting.
We're the kings of abrupt starts, right? Have you ever dealt with, or how do you deal with toxic players?
So dealing with toxic players is actually much more simple than people like to think. It's more of the line of how comfortable you are talking to people openly than it is, finding convoluted ways to deal with them. Have y'all ever heard of like these DMs that are saying like, oh, just subtly, punish them in RP like a dog or something like that, give them negative reinforcements and they'll probably stop. That's not the case. Nah, that's never a healthy way of doing anything. The way you do it is you tell them, hey, knock that shit off. Either if it's bad enough in game, if it's not that bad out of game, and if they argue with you, you're gonna kick them out. And if they don't stop doing it, you're gonna kick them out. That's basically how it happens. It's a very simple way to deal with toxic players.
Very straight to the point there.
Yeah.
Look, I run sessions for for different people. We got a limited amount of time. Why would I even make any time for drama?
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
We've
That's
never
better.
had that problem in our groups. So you guys have never had to experience any of that. But
Thankfully.
yes. I mean, granted, I don't really have that much experience, kicking out toxic players or anything. In my 6 or 7 years of being like a DM, I've maybe had 1 or 2, I'd say.
What is the thing the players do that drives you crazy? This can be in and out of character.
Not many things players do catches me off guard. The one thing that irks me, I guess it would be out of game and in game. I don't know. You could probably class this as 2 different things. Is try to skirt around the bans that I have in games. The one thing I ban, you guys know what I ban. What do I ban in all of our games?
No flying.
The Aarakocra specifically.
Exactly. No, it's not Aarakocra. It could be a fairy as well. There's different things, but the Aarakocra is like the first thing people look toward. No flying. Yeah, that's essentially you getting a 1-over on like the other. Look, other people may not see it like that, but how I see it is you are not paying. You are essentially picking a class or a race that essentially gives you either a 500 or 5,000 gold magic item off the rip innately. And I don't like that. D&D in and of itself, this may sound weird. Commercial, you said? No.
Controversial.
Look how I see it. D&D from levels like 1 to however long your campaign goes. It's essentially a pay-to-progress type of system, is how I see it. Whereas you gain power from leveling up from levels 1 to wherever you go. But you can also spend the gold that the DM gives you to expedite yourself within power. And you just, off the rip, expediting yourself with a flying race. That's the one thing I don't do. And that's what ticks me off. People will just say like, oh, but can I use it in like these situations? Oh, but if my character's like under so much stress, I'll fucking flap out my wings, but I still want to be an Aarakocra. It's like, you know what? If you can't come up with something else to play whenever I tell you this, I'm probably not the best guy for you to be playing with,
You can always change your DM.
Yes, exactly. There's always other DMs around
However,
there.
spells work fine, right? Because Asimar also has flying, but he has to like use an action to cast a spell or something like that, right?
Yeah, I'm playing in the ASMR in the campaign that we're recording right now.
Yeah, that's completely
How did I
fine.
convince you to do that? How am I allowed to do
I have
do
no
something
problem
else?
with like features that are limited that grant you flying. I just don't like innate flying. I just don't like words that say you can fly. You have this flying speed.
You
yes.
just
That's
have
bad.
it.
Yes.
When you post a session online, you get players that apply. What's like a criteria for you when you're picking out these players for your game?
I don't have a set criteria. I just have these.
Yes, you do. Come on.
Yeah, gingers
look.
only, right?
Oh,
Yeah,
what?
ginger people only, right?
Ginger's people. Sure, exactly. I want an all red team.
An all red team.
Oh, red team.
No blue team here. I have like these red and green flags that whenever I pick out a player, whenever through conversation and we're talking, I basically pick out to see if we have like the same kind of personality we want in a game. I'm not gonna tell anybody what those are because you're just gonna fake it whenever you're playing to my games. But yeah, there's a system I have whenever I'm picking what player I want in my games to be the kind of player that both I would enjoy playing with and both the player would enjoy playing with me. Because if we don't like each other, we're not gonna have a good game. So, yeah.
Okay. So there's nothing you can tell us.
No, no, this is like
That's
key
so
things.
There's
basically-
nothing.
You said a whole lot of nothing here.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'll look at this.
nothing.
I look at the application that they place for certain things, and I look for how they talk and what we talk about, how our conversation goes, and based on those things, it's either a yes or a no for me.
Well, so basically, if a new DM is starting off, he has to be a psychiatrist as well. Like,
Yeah.
It all comes from experience. Look, there's a reason that I had that. There's a reason that I have this criteria. It's all from mistakes that I've made with picking people in the past. I would, if all my games went off without a hitch, I'd be telling you I have 0 criteria for anybody that I pick. So yeah.
how do you come up with NPCs to make them fun for the party? And also, as a side note, how do you name the NPCs on the spot?
So how I name the NPCs on the spot is one of two ways. I could just like come up with it like off the top of my head, or I could just, if I have enough time, look something up. I could just like roll up a random name and have it be like that. Usually the ones that are off the top of my head stick with y'all the most. How I come up with them, I just pick a personality, I guess. I just pick a personality and I'll be like, all right, what does this guy want? What's gonna happen? What does the party want? And then just like play it like that. Who would it be? Who's a recent one? Oh yeah, like the guy that turned into a cat. That was off the rip. Like that
Was it actually?
He didn't exist until Laura said she wanted to like talk to somebody off the side of the road, and yeah, that was something out there, and now it can be a completely new avenue to explore.
So when a new player starts, is it better for them to play homebrew or a module?
That entirely depends on how much D&D content you've consumed prior to actually playing D&D. How I started off with only homebrew. The reason I did that was prior, I think I watched like 1 to 1.5 years, like fully a certain YouTubers that were playing D&D, and they all did like these homebrew modules or anything like that. I don't know like official modules existed. And I just like essentially downloaded their personalities off the internet and made my homebrew campaigns like
I
that.
downloaded their personalities off the internet.
Yeah.
Well, it's no big deal. It just stole their identity.
But yeah, I'd recommend if you're starting out fresh, you've never seen anything D&D before, start off with an official module. It's going to be much easier for you, especially if you're a DM. But if you're familiar with the rules, you've heard them a lot, and you've heard of some campaigns, you can delve into homebrew as well.
In the very off chance that you actually get to play the game, what class would you pick?
Rogue. Just kidding.
Rogue.
Those have been my classes for the last like 3 campaigns that I've been a part of. I think I'd just go with fighter this time. If I ever go with a class, I've always envisioned making a character similar to how like Fiora is in League of Legends, like this master duelist. And whenever I get the chance, I'd probably go fighter. Yeah.
Have you ever fumbled any roles?
Have I ever fumbled any roles? Yes. Do
What?
I do it now?
I will
No.
never believe you anymore.
So whenever we started playing, you remember whenever we did our first like campaign, whenever we were all
I will never
well-
forget my gnome warlock. Never
Yes.
forget my gnome
Mm.
warlock.
And my intelligent sorcerer.
And my
But yeah, that was-
intelligence warlock, yes.
yeah. Oh my god, yeah, we didn't know how to allocate stats at all. What happened was, you remember how your first party like died in that like basement with the monk like kicking the shit out of you?
Yes.
Yes.
So what
Destroy
happened
my
was
ass.
that was the only ever instance I fudged rolls, and it didn't even help at all. Where I saw like this cool critical role moment, and I wanted to like copy it wherever this like monk on monk fights in a bar. So what happened was like the monk there, the enemy monk, was like maybe 1 or 2 levels ahead of the character. I was like, okay, this is probably gonna be close, but I wasn't aware that in second or third level, someone being an extra level above you, it matters a lot.
Yeah, it's a big
It-
difference.
it's a
Makes
big
a
bump.
difference.
So this monk, ended up actually doing pretty good and kicking
All
kicking
your
the characters'
guys' ass.
yeah,
Really?
kicking the character's ass. And midway through it, I just realized like, oh shit, I'm probably gonna kill them all. And I started like intentionally like say, okay, this like misses or something like that. I did it like maybe 2 or 3 times. It didn't help. You still got your fucking asses kicked. And plus the 2 guard bandits next to her, it's just like they were completely not needed as well. She would have like kicked your asses herself, and them being there didn't help at all. But
Yeah, I have PTSD from that. Like, I completely remember that because even though it happened like years ago, it's just it's in my head, rent free.
that was the first time I was like, okay, I probably need to use an encounter calculator or something like that whenever we're doing this. And yeah, that was the first time and only time that's I've ever misrepresented some roles. I don't use encounter calculators anymore. It's just
Wow,
I
that was misdirection.
I used to like for the first 1 or 2 or 3 years whenever we were playing, I used to do it, but now it's just like I eyeball it, and it usually works out.
Do you have a favorite NPC and or monster that you like to use in like all of your campaigns? Do you have reoccurring NPCs and monsters like that's your just favorite?
Yes, I do. There's 3 of them, and one is rather recent that we did in our homebrew games. 2 of them are warlock patrons, and it's lovely what you get to do with this. There's Gambo. There's
I love that.
the little blob of flesh that he probably just talks like this, like Elma Fudd. He's an accountant for hell, and that's your warlock patron just like following you around.
I love that.
The newer one is Big Boss, the Slender Man looking guy with like the suit that we had in our Mafia game.
Fuck.
Imagine Dr. Barber from Blackjack if he were Slender Man, and you'd probably figure out what I'm talking about.
But definitely the blob of flesh. We never know like what he actually does and how powerful he is. He's just a blob of flesh. He's disgusting, but he's fun to be around. I don't know. It just works perfectly.
The game was actually based off like a YouTube video that I watched previously with like the character similar to that, and nobody could find it. And I don't think anybody could find it now if I know unless they've like watched the video proper. I'll just won't reveal wherever it came from.
Yeah, don't spoil the surprise.
Yeah. And the third one is, I don't think y'all have encountered this one yet. It's called Tumble Turner.
Oh yeah, we have.
We have.
You have? Oh yeah, from the Fallout games. Yeah, from the
Oh.
Fallout games. A sentient tumbleweed that has some psychic powers.
That has a gambling addiction.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
he was amazing. Just a fucking tumbleweed. that
And
talks.
he has a floating cowboy hat above him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tumble Turner. Oh, and a 4th one as well. That's really recent, like a couple of weeks recent. Whenever we were starting a campaign, and one of my players wanted to dip into Warlock from Bard. He has like a cat familiar. Whenever he casts Speak with Animals, I always do like the noir detective type of thing because his cat is inquisitive, and I just do like this noir detective type of talk with the cat as his patron.
Next question is kind of similar. It's like your favorite voice or accent for an NPC.
I'd probably say anything to do with a goblin. I always like imitating goblins from World of Warcraft, and I love using the New York accents to imitate them. What was it?
Give us some flavor. Come on, let's hear it.
I mean, like, for instance, in the Mafia game that we played, just having like a random guy whenever you're committing crimes just goes, "Hey, call the cops over here. What are they doing?" And just something along those lines to just add an extra flavor. I love. There's so much you can do with that accent, and there's so many mannerisms you can do. I love doing that.
Can you tell us some interesting DMing experiences that you've had in the past?
What do you mean by interesting DMing experiences?
I don't know. You tell me.
Like something that you will never forget.
Is this bad experience or
Anything.
good experience?
Anything.
I guess probably your interaction with the pack of mimes in our Fallout game.
Yeah.
Those are
No, no.
that's that was one fun experience for reference. They're very high level in a Fallout campaign, and they got that like their own vault. Marco has the feat he replaced it called Wild Wasteland, and what essentially a feature of the Wild Wasteland is them coming upon a house that was like painted black and white, and inside they were mimes who used like their fingers to shoot guns, but they actually did like psychic damage and weren't like mimes. They were like psychers or something like that. Yeah, they spoke French.
It's time for some DM tips. Someone wants to start out being a forever dungeon master. What's some advice you would give them?
So what I'd guess, what I'd say starting off would be, if you're taking advice from me, just watch a whole lot of content. Just watch a whole lot of campaigns. See how you like it. See how you want to run your games. See if there's any style of DMing that you want to go for. It's a good way to also learn rules. Side note, I haven't actually opened a rule book or a Dungeon Master's Guide any time that we've ever played D&D. That knowledge is all downloaded from different campaigns, and I'm just hoping they were playing vanilla D&D and it was the right call.
So we have no idea which rules we're going with. Just fucking, if it works, don't fix it.
If it works, don't fix it. Thankfully, I think the 2017-2018 crowd were quite strict on the rules that time period, so that was quite a good way to get in.
I may correct me if I'm wrong. I think that just following the rules works perfectly. If you bend them too much, it just breaks the story.
They can be used to help you facilitate. They're facilitators at the end of the day. You could, for all intents and purposes, make up something else on the spot that works better. But if you do it, if you overboard with it, you're just better off playing something else. Bending it is okay. Breaking them is not so okay.
We got to the final and most important question of the night. So you can finally leave this interrogation room. Are you ready for this, Mark? The moment of truth.
I already know it, so it's kind of not that intense for me.
What do you mean?
The final question. We wrote them together. What do you mean?
No. His answer. Of course you know the question.
Okay,
he doesn't know the question. Of course you fucking know the question.
All right. Well, it's not that fun for me, right? There is no suspense, but sure. Suspense.
Are we your favorite party?
Everybody's my favorite party. I love all my players.
Can't be using that.
Okay, you can tell your PR you said that now.
Exactly. I'm my own PR.
The man is... how long are you going to be dodging those bullets? Come on.
No, that's just like, I don't know, man. Whenever somebody asks me that, I'll be like, you know what? I'll let you be your own judge.
If you like us or not.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I think that's all we have for today. Anything anybody wants to add?
No, I'm good. Get me out of here.
If you guys enjoy any of this, and if you enjoy me and Mark doing the intros and the outros, leave a like and tell us your thoughts in the comments. Also, if you have any more questions you would like to ask specifically this DM, if anybody is watching, leave a comment down below.